Welcome to the Rack of the Week number 214. Wow. It's an even number, so we're doing straight pool this week. First, real quick, as usual, my patrons are on the screen. I like to feature them every week. Thank you for your support. My student and higher level supporters on Patreon and YouTube have been getting regular updates lately and an advanced viewing of segments of my How to Practice video, How to Practice number 2, which is coming out very soon. Let's get right into this rack. We're going to look at one rack of straight pool. Now, I was thinking about featuring her playing 9-ball because I've been really impressed. But last week was the Predator European Championships, and they played a whole variety of games. They did play 9-ball, but they also played straight pool. She won the straight pool event. Of course, I'm talking about Pia Filler. Her opponent in this match is Ina Kaplan, and I want to make sure you understand this is no slight to Ina Kaplan. When I do my Rack of the Weeks, I only just feature one player. I've already made a Rack of the Week about Ina because she ran 146 balls last year, and that was her high run. That was Rack of the Week number 155. So if you want to check that out, today we're going to look at Pia Filler, however. Do go over to Pro Billiard TV on YouTube. Give them your support. There are tons of matches that you can watch from all throughout the Euro Tour, men's and women's events, pros and amateurs. I mean, it's incredible how much pool there was. And it's all over there for you to watch for free on Pro Billiard TV. So do check them out. What you're looking at right now is the beginning of the game. Ina broke the balls, and she did pretty well, left the 3-ball to this bottom left corner pocket. Now, that's a touchy shot. Most players are going to be happy to just pocket this 3-ball, and they're not going to put too much concern into the cue ball. You're elevated over the rail, so what I would be doing is shooting with a level cue, so you're going to have some topspin on the ball. Cue ball is going to go to the bottom rail and probably come up this way and hit these balls. Hopefully the cue ball will come loose, maybe knock a couple. You're not going to hit this very hard, and then just see what develops from there. That's what I would definitely be trying to do. Take a look at Pia's choice. So we're advancing to Pia over the shot. She's shooting with an elevated cue down on the ball. She's not worried about pocketing this ball. She knows she's going to pocket it. And she's trying to instead bring the cue ball 2 rails around. No matter, depending on where the cue ball stops, she's going to have a shot on the 7 or on this stripe into the corner and to try and begin opening up this cluster. That's a confident pool player. There's a couple of things that I want to point out about Pia's play. We're going to watch her shoot this shot. One of the best ways when you're, as a pool player, that you're trying to learn and you're watching the pros, you want to watch their matches and see what you can learn. One of the best things that you can do, and it's really hard to do, don't watch the balls. Watch the player. I always say if you want to learn something, when you watch the pros, watch their eyes. If you can keep your attention on their eyes throughout the match, don't watch the balls at all. You're going to learn a lot. Watch Pia Filler's head during this stroke. Now, I want you to think about this. The cue ball's 8 feet away from this ball, and she's cueing at the bottom of the cue ball. So she wants backspin, not a lot of draw, just backspin to get the cue ball to take this path. How hard do you need to hit the cue ball from 8 feet away to get backspin on it? Most players, they have to hit it with a speed that's going to make the cue ball travel all the way back up table. Not so, and that's what makes this a spectacular shot. Watch how she strokes this ball. Watch how still her head remains on the shot. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit, and I'm gonna go frame by frame here, because she did move after the shot, and this happens when your cue stick is elevated like this. So we're going to go frame by frame and watch this. There, the cue ball's coming through. The cue stick is coming through. She struck the cue ball. The cue ball is moving. So nothing that she does now with her body can affect the shot, but you want to remain still as you can through the shot. And notice that her head hasn't moved. I'm going to back it up again. Not one iota. And then the cue ball's a foot away before her head starts to move. And as this isn't really a flaw in the stroke. You see this a lot. When your cue stick is elevated and you're coming down on the ball, the cue stick can then, the tip can then pop up, and that's what you see here. And that probably contributes to her head moving. But this is the most her head moves on any shot. And people criticize Joshua Filler, her husband, as jumping up on the shot quickly as well. But if you play it back frame by frame and watch, he does not move 1 millimeter until that cue ball is a foot away, at least a foot away, if not longer. I teach my students 2 seconds, which is a long time. Or watch the object ball go into the pocket. And she does that quite often, but she also stays down long enough to make sure that the shot has come off correctly, and only then does she move. That's one of the keys to top pool, no matter what game you're playing, but especially straight pool. Stillness on the shot. And that's what it makes Pia so great at pool and 9-ball as well. So this is where the cue ball lands. She's going to shoot this stripe. Most of the Europeans do this. Use the cue stick, and she's sighting along the joint to visualize the tangent line and where the cue ball is going to hit. So if I was going to shoot this shot, I would shoot with a straight high ball, because it looks to me like the cue ball would hit the top of the 2, go towards these balls, and then the top spin, it's going to back up just a little bit and then go forward again. And I don't think there's any chance of scratching, and a good chance of opening the balls up wide. Probably the disadvantage with that shot is you got to stroke it pretty firm, because you got to get that cue ball to burrow into the rack. Pia chooses something else. She chooses a different option. She shoots low. And watch this shot. I'll go ahead and play it frame by frame. Bring it up here. There comes the cue stick, comes back slowly. Now her head hasn't moved a millimeter. Look at how still her head is all the way through. Look at that. Look at that. The cue ball's a foot away, and she still hasn't moved. Now the cue ball's hit the object ball, and she still pretty much hasn't moved a millimeter. Because of low on the cue ball's hitting that stripe instead of the 2. And whenever you're using low, it slows the cue ball down. So watch what happens now. The cue ball goes forward into the 2, and that happens when you're shooting with, even though she had draw, she hit the bottom side of the 15, so the cue ball still went forward. But now the draw is going to take, and now she's moving after the shot's completely over. And look at what the cue ball does. It did nothing. That's what draw does. It slows the cue ball down and kills it. I think that's a better choice than what I said, than shooting with follow, because she didn't have to hit it as hard. It was more of a softer draw. Look at the separation. Almost all the balls are separated. There's only 4 balls still kind of close together in the rack area. Fantastic break shot. Just great. Yeah, so this is the result of the break shot. The only shot she has is this 15 ball. Oh, and I by the way, I'll go back here because I wanted to mention this. This is a really good camera angle. The other thing I want to mention is this. We can draw a line from the cue ball through her cue tip, through her vision center, was right under her right eye, through her shoulder, and through her elbow. Dead, I can't draw it on the screen, but a dead straight line. Actually, I can draw it. I can use one of these and do this. Perfect alignment, head perfectly still. Those are 2 of the most crucial ingredients for any pool player. But if you want to have consistency in straight pool, there you go. That's why she's on the rack of the week. She didn't come up with a really good shot. The 8-ball is really tough because she's elevated over the pack and it's really thin. You can't control the cue ball. So a simple stop shot on the 15 is called for. You know the drill. Watch Pia Filler's head. Bring it up. Here comes the cue sticks coming back. See how her head hasn't moved? Cue ball contact, no head movement at all. Now her head started to move a little bit, and the cue ball's about 6 inches away. But not much. Object ball contact, head still hasn't moved. Now the object ball's a good foot away from the cue ball. Her head still hasn't moved. She's watching the shot, and that's integral with staying still. You can't watch the shot if you move your head, because you have to reacquire, and it's a different angle. That's part of staying still. Your eyes are on the object ball when you shoot, and they stay there until the cue ball hits it and the object ball starts traveling where you want it to go. And you're watching that unfold from down on the shot. Those are all ingredients that work together to keep the head perfectly still as you shoot. Then after, she's watching the shot, and as soon as she knows for a fact that that object ball is going right where she wanted, that's when she allows herself to get up off the shot, but not before. Okay, next shot. This is a few shots later. And I want to talk about this because I complain about this all the time in my game. Shallow angle on a rail ball, and she wants to go into this cluster. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. Going into the bottom of a cluster from the bottom rail is fraught with peril. You have to do it sometimes, but boy, you better be careful and make sure you get it right. A steeper angle, like if the cue ball's way over here and you have a steeper angle, it's much easier to predict the path of the cue ball. But when you have a shallow angle, your cue tip position is so critical in determining what angle the cue ball is going to come off that bottom rail. So this looks ideal. Oh, I'll just pop the cue ball off the bottom rail. I'll split the two in this stripe. They'll move a little bit, maybe even make a break ball, and then I'll have this orange ball in this pocket next. Looks really good on paper. Watch the shot. Oops. Drew back into the stripe instead of splitting the two. Then the cue ball goes into the two, and she's very lucky that the cue ball didn't get buried right here. I've done it a million times, and like I said, sometimes you have to do this shot. There's no choice. The result is she didn't get completely buried. She doesn't have a shot on the 1. She doesn't want to elevate and cut the 8. I wouldn't either. That shot's really difficult. So now she's got to shoot a long, difficult cut shot into the upper corner pocket to keep the run going. That's what can happen if you don't get that angle off the bottom rail correct and get a simple shot to follow up. Okay, so what does she do? You can guess what I'm going to say. Here's the cue ball. We're going to draw a straight line. Cue ball, cue tip, eye, vision center, shoulder, elbow, grip. Dead straight line. Enough said. Watch how still her head remains throughout this shot. Okay, Q-tip's coming back. Oh, look at that. Look at that as well. Let's look at this. Look where her bridge hand is, and now look how far the Q-tip comes back. She did not pull her Q-tip all the way back. You don't need to hit this hard. She's just trying to control the cue ball so it doesn't travel very far. So you don't need a lot of power. Therefore, short backstroke. And that also contributes to accuracy when you've got a long cut shot like this. Head hasn't moved. No movement on the head. No movement. No movement on the head. No movement. No movement. Object ball's over a foot away. He's watching the object ball path while down on the shot. Still no movement. Still no movement. Still no movement. Now she knows for sure it's going in, and we can see her starting to get up off the shot a little bit. Similar to the rack of the week last week, I'm not looking at the patterns and the shot choices as much. Let's see. The next shot I want to talk about is the very next shot. So a little bit out of line still, and that's a result of not getting this split coming off the bottom rail. 2 shots later, we're still dealing with that. But she's in a good spot and can get through this rack. Same thing. We're just going to look at this. She needs to cut this this stripe backwards up into this corner pocket, bring the cue ball, I believe, to the rail and out back center table so she has a shot. Probably on this 8th ball next. You know the drill. We're probably going to see a short backstroke again. Yeah, pretty short. No movement, no head movement, no head movement, no head movement. Watching the object ball go to the pocket, no head movement. Only when she knows that object ball is going to go in, does her head move. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead to this shot. I'm just going to make the same point. She's going to use a lot of left English on this shot, so that's why she's aimed at the left part of the cue ball. Let me try and pick that up. If you go through the Q-tip, vision center, shoulder, and then I'm going to go through the grip. And the reason why I do that, you might look at this and say, oh, her elbow isn't over the cue stick. Yes, it is. The camera is direct overhead. So the camera is pointing right at the circle in the center of the table. So only when something's going through the center are you seeing the exact angle. So when anything that's over to the side sticks out past objects that are below it. So her elbow is directly over the cue stick, trust me. It's just a little camera parallax there. Same thing. We'll go forward. Watch the. It's gonna switch camera angles on us too, but no head movement, no head movement. Watch the cue ball. Watch the object ball. Now she's moving a little bit because she can tell it's going right where she wants. And then the last shot I want to look at, I'll mention really quick. I wasn't going to say much about patterns, but we'll look at this real quickly. The shot that she just played is ideal because here's the break ball. And like I've mentioned before, these are the useful balls. In other words, the balls that remain at the end of the rack are in the rack area or above, and they're not along the rail. So this area is the area of your useful balls. Balls that are near the center line of the table are your pivot balls. So she doesn't have a standard end pattern here, but you can run this end pattern like 10 different ways, because any of these balls is a pivot ball. You can get a cut shot to transition over here to get on your break shot, or a couple of other routes. But if you look at this, the cue ball's going off that 6 ball in this direction. If it stops below the 7, she can shoot the 7 in the side and then play this ball in this corner, this ball in this corner, 2 rails out for your break shot. Or 7 in the side, come over here, 3 ball here, and then cue ball this way and either draw straight back off the 13 or go to this rail and off. If the cue ball comes farther to here, you can shoot the 13 in this corner, then shoot the 7 in the side, draw back here for this angle on the 3, come over for the break shot. If the cue ball comes farther, if it comes up here, then she can go cut the 13 in this pocket, either go straight to the bottom rail and up, or 2 rails like this, to get on the 7 in the side. Same thing, 3 ball over here. So there's lots of good things that happen. As a matter of fact, if the cue ball comes even farther, you can shoot the 3 ball. Then you shoot the 13 here, roll forward to here, 7 in the side, roll forward for the break shot. So because these balls aren't tied up, they have avenues to pockets, and they all function as pivot balls. You can play one off from the other, and there's like 10 different end patterns. So this is just ideal from this position. And she ends up with this shot. She ends up with the 13 into this pocket, and I think she came 1 rail to get this angle on the 7 ball, which is ideal. We'll watch her shoot this one. We can't see how still she is, but we'll watch this one go. Look how softly that object ball rolled into the pocket. That's how you play that shot. It's just tapping it in. It's just all speed control so that you can get an ideal angle on the break shot. Now, in the break shot, she does this again, and I don't know how necessary it is. When the object ball is this far away, I mean, yeah, you can, when the object ball is this far away, you can manipulate the cue ball. When the object ball is close to the rack, it's not going to react to your draw or follow off from the tangent line. But when it's this far away, it can. So I guess it's okay. It helps to sight it when it's this far away, because then you can make a decision of whether you're going to do center ball or try to manipulate it. And in this case, she does decide to use draw. We're going to look at this break shot, and I'm going to explain why here in a second. We're going to look at it in the same fashion. So she's using draw. Once again, she's not trying to blast the rack open. She's just going to use draw to get so that her cue ball hits the top side of the corner ball, and then hopefully comes up center table. So she's not going to hit it hard, just soft. If I was shooting this break shot, I would use center left, because what I would want to do is hit the middle or the bottom of the 7 ball. Then the cue ball is going to go to the bottom rail, and the left English is going to send the cue ball this way. And so I'm going to be hitting it much harder. I think my shot is more reckless and easier to lose control of the cue ball. 1 out of 100, the cue ball is going to come this way and hit the 15 and then get knocked right into the corner pocket. Or other bad things can happen. My shot is going to open the rack more, but it's risk reward. It's riskier for that reason. Let's watch the shot unfold. Bring the cue stick back. And this is what can happen. Watch this. Here we go. Oh. Okay. Coming forward on the shot, the head's still. Now the head is moving a little bit. And then moving a little bit, not much, but some. After cue ball contact, now the head has really moved up. Okay? We'll watch the shot unfold. Just soft draw straight back. See that? That's old school straight pull. That is classic straight pull. The reason why is she's not getting very many balls open from the rack. 3 balls below and 2 above. But that's 5. That's 1/3 of the rack. That's enough. This is a smarter break shot. You have more work to do, but you're not going to scratch, and you're keeping the cue ball under control. I want to show the break shot in real time. So I'm going to hit play and watch her head move. It wasn't just head movement, it was body movement as well. So the question is why? She's trained hard to be still on every shot. Why did that happen? I'm going to tell you why. Compromised stance. Anytime that you don't have both feet on the floor, anytime that you're stretching over the shot, anytime that you're elevated over a ball or elevated over the rail, I classify that as compromised stance. It takes extra awareness to keep yourself still, even though you're doing that. It takes extra awareness, in fact, when you're stretched out like this, to even get good alignment. And he's got perfect alignment. So it's great. But, and this isn't, I'm not criticizing because I've done this a million times, but just to be aware of it. She still made the shot because there wasn't a lot of movement until after the cue ball was gone. Okay. So there's a bunch of movement before the cue ball even hits the object ball. That can lead to misses. You just need to be aware of it. And it's because of the compromised stance, her upper body isn't quite in the same position it would be if she had a normal stance with 2 feet on the floor. So pay attention to that in your own game. I hope you enjoyed this rack of the week. A little something different this week. We're going to try and keep things interesting. Next week, we will feature a game other than straight pool, and I don't know what it's going to be yet. So stay tuned next week. See you on Rack of the Week. Bye. Oh, and if you're going to play pool, remember, play it straight. Bye.